the Bills look ridiculously good last night. And relationships are a funny thing. So Stefon Diggs comes to Buffalo at a time when Josh Allen was a young, developing quarterback with a great deal of promise and a great deal of uncertainty. And I think Stefon Diggs was largely credited by many, and correctly so, for having a lot to do with the successful development of Josh Allen. And so much so it became a template, right? Other teams were looking to do it. The Eagles did it with A.J. Brown. They went out to, bring in A.J. Brown, help develop Jalen Hurts. There was another big one that we were pointing to.
Miami got Tyreek Hill.
Miami getting Tyreek Hill to try and help develop Tua. All that kind of stuff. It became sort of like a go-to move in the NFL. And they had magnificent success together. And then, as is the case much of the time, something went sideways. I don't know what. You hear a million rumors about it. I don't know anything about it. But it became pretty clear that something happened in that relationship, both on the field and off. So it was quite interesting when, after a dominant 4-touchdown performance, Josh Allen last night became the first quarterback since Ben Roethlisberger to throw 4 touchdowns in the first half of a Monday night game. Josh Allen, when talking about his team, said this.
It's a fun and wonderful thing when you got a bunch of guys that don't care about the stats. They don't care about the touchdowns. And again, I think throughout practice, we've just had this mindset of like, hey, let's just do things the right way and find ways to win football games. That's what we're doing right now.
So, I mean, you tell me, am I overreacting? Am I being unfair? Am I putting words in his mouth if I say that sounds like a not particularly veiled shot at Stefon Diggs?
I heard it the exact same way that you did, I have to admit. And Stefon Diggs, I think you characterized it beautifully, was an enormous reason why Josh Allen has become Josh Allen. The acquisition in 2020 took him from being a very ordinary player to someone at the very top of like the MVP totem pole every single season. But it's also clear when Stefon Diggs is your number one receiver that he's going to command 30% of your targets. That's what his target share was. In the end, it wound up being sort of counterproductive based, whether it be watching the games or numerically, that Josh Allen forced the ball to Stefon Diggs and threw a lot of interceptions. But when Stefon Diggs is on your team, that's the template that you're going to use. Right now, the weaponry is a lot less talented, but the offensive is much more balanced, and Josh Allen was zinging it around yesterday to tight ends, to his backs, and of course to his receivers.
Bubba and Cam, did you hear it that way? Did you hear that as a shot at Stefon Diggs?
I actually didn't, and it's ironic. Stefon Diggs made Josh Allen so good that he didn't need Stefon Diggs anymore. It's kind of like, it's very funny. It's like, you know, the girlfriend like fixes the boyfriend and then he's better afterwards, stuff like that. But Josh Allen threw to 10 different receivers last night, so I'm sure he's enjoying, you know, being able to spread the ball around more, like Hembo said, but I don't think he was really taking a shot at Stefon Diggs. They had, you know, whatever relationship they had that went sour at the end, but most of their connection and partnership together was extremely fruitful and successful for the team that went to an AFC championship game and kept running into the Chiefs in the playoffs. So I don't really think it was a veiled shot. Maybe, you know, people can take it that way, obviously, whatever they want to, but I think it was more him just appreciating, and maybe this is subconscious that it's about Stefon Diggs, how many people he can get involved in the offense.
Well, so then let me reframe it. He may not have been intending to take a shot at Stefon Diggs. He may not have said, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to take a shot at Stefon Diggs. But, Bubba, is there any other way to receive this than as a shot at Stefon Diggs?
No.
Right? There's no other way to receive it.
I kind of look at it almost the same way as the Aaron Rodgers-Saleh embrace, where, and it wasn't, obviously that wasn't the worst thing in the world, but that was weird and awkward, and we all saw it, and we all know that was not a normal interaction. After the game, Aaron's like, oh, no, there was no issue. He just brushed it off and came up with some crazy excuse and whatever. I don't think it's necessarily a big deal, but the whole world saw that's not how two people interact, except for maybe Hembo and someone. But
right.
Normal people can just exchange and do a hug. Just like this, I think if you ask Josh Allen today, he'll say, oh, no, I wasn't talking about Stefon. I'm just talking about how great But we all saw it. We all heard what he said, and we all know he was talking about Diggs.
So, again, I'm going to say I'm somewhere in the middle on these two, or let me reframe that. I don't think he was purposely taking a shot at Stefon Diggs, but I think he's pointing out how much better it is for him at this stage of his career not having Stefon Diggs. And look, when you've got a quarterback like Josh Allen, like Patrick Mahomes, like Joe Burrow, like these really young, great players, they're going to have like 3 eras, right? They're going to have 3 eras, and players are going to come and go during that time. Josh Allen's going to be a great quarterback in Buffalo for 15 years. So the first era, to use a Taylor Swift reference, was his Stefon Diggs era. This era is going to be something entirely different. Same with Patrick. Patrick had the Tyreek Hill era. Soon, the Travis Kelce era is going to be over, maybe sooner than you think, because he looks a step or 2 slower, which is just normal. He's old. So, like Patrick, they're all going to outlive. Like you think back to Brady's early years in New England, who his receivers were then. Then he had the Randy Moss era. Like there was the Welker era. Then became the Edelman era, the Gronk era. Like what does he need? He needs a big tight end. We got Gronk. What does he need? He needs the little crafty slot receiver. We had Welker. Welker's done. Now we got Edelman. Like these guys, there were going to be multiple eras in Josh Allen's career. We have now begun the second one.
I think that's him answering that question is basically just kind of saying the quiet part out loud. That's what they believe. They themselves believe that they are better without him. Addition by subtraction, a veiled shot or not a veiled shot. He just answered that question honestly. But of course, knowing what we know about the way that it ended there, we can't help but speculate that that's what he actually meant.